Coming up tonight on Joy News at 8. Electoral Commission puts preparations for by-elections in Woolensey and Kwabre West on hold, pending a final court determination on the matter. We'll get the reaction of some political parties on this development. Ghana aids Commission to focus on existing antiretroviral drug in spite of new discovery in U.S. If you are lobbying for a favorable position for your national service, you might want to pay attention to what Executive Director of the Secretariat has to say. Finance Minister moves motion for approval of supplementary budget. In entertainment, veteran high-life musician Jedruble Ambule challenges Guinness Book of Records. And in sports, GFA applies for Arsenal star Emmanuel Frimpong to play for the Black Stars.
And this is your primetime news with me, Ajwa Dansoa Ewuku.
And I am Derek Walalam Johnson. We take you through all these headlines and more in the next 1 hour. Keep it rolling, Dansoa.
All right, in our first story, the Electoral Commission has put on hold preparations for the by-elections in Kwabre West and Woolensey constituencies following a joint suit by some political parties against using the old voters register. Joy News has been engaging the EC as well as the political parties on the situation.
The political parties are in court to seek interpretation of the legality in using the current voters register. The EC insists the biometric voters register is not ready and will not be ready on the time to be used for the by-elections. Despite the court case, the parties are said to be campaigning in the two constituencies.
And so as soon as the court rules, we will continue with our preparations. They are in a contest, and if they think that the people must hear their message, they can go out there and campaign. If what they are doing is in contempt of courts, we're not the ones to cite them for contempt. If there is anybody who should cite them for contempt, it's the people who went to court. And they are the political parties themselves, so we cannot stop them from campaigning. We think that they are ready for the election. That's all that it means to us.
The CPP confirmed to Joy News they are waiting for the judicial verdict, but also campaigning from door to door to ensure victory for the party. The PPP is not part of the suit, but campaigning while the PNC is neither part of the suit nor the by-elections.
We have credible candidates in Issa Damba in the Woolensey constituency and John Yao Asubontin in the Kwabre West constituency. The four that went to contest the Electoral Commission's decision to use the voters register are on the ground campaigning as we speak. So that we see as a double standard.
And our party, even though we're not part of the suit in court, we're not contesting those two by-elections at Woolensey and Kwabre West. We are not aware that our people are campaigning there. We are not participating. And why will our people be campaigning, and for whom?
The big question which none of the parties are answering is, why sue to prevent the elections and still go ahead to campaign for the same elections? Clearly, the focus is on winning the seat, and the message is no complacency. Gifty Ando Apia, Joy News.
Meanwhile, the NPP says it will go ahead with its campaign whilst it awaits the court's decision on the matter.
PNC flag bearer Hassan Ayariga has promised to improve Ghana's cocoa production from the current 1 million tons to 1.5 million tons when voted into power. He's also promising to implement several social intervention policies targeted at rural and youth development. The PNC flag bearer made these pronouncements when he appeared at the Institute of Economic Affairs evening encounter with the presidential candidates.
A packed hall at the Kofi Annan ICT Center in Accra eagerly awaited the arrival of PNC flag bearer Hassan Ayariga. The 41-year-old accountant is by far the youngest presidential aspirant in the race for the December polls. Civil society groups were seated, waiting for that one opportunity to ask the PNC flag bearer what plans he has for the country. Hassan Ayariga arrived at the IEA's evening encounter amidst cheers from the numerous PNC supporters and sympathizers who had gathered at the venue. He immediately confessed that mounting the IEA's platform was the biggest moment in his life. His theme for the new Ghana under his leadership is rehabilitation, redirection, youth empowerment and economic growth in all sectors of the national economy.
Hassan Ayariga will bring to the table leadership of hard work, passionate patriotism, truth, honest, and love. I will lead a system of government that will promote transparency in government businesses, the rule of law and justice, a listening ear, and be tolerant to dissenting views.
The PNC-led administration, he noted, would implement several social integrated policies aimed at youth development and job creation to expand the country's economy.
We will decentralize the management of the capitation grants to district assembly and also review the formula for allocating the district assembly's common fund to ensure deprived districts receive more as compared to blessed municipalities and metropolis. And ensure that the full value of the capitation grant reaches all schools before the beginning of each term, as well as set up a system to evaluate the impact of the capitation grant, Ghana School Feeding Program, free textbooks, exercise books, school uniforms for basic education access and quality.
Hassan Ayariga's one-hour speech, which according to PNC's General Secretary, Bernard Mona, are extracts from the PNC's manifesto, also touched on the expansion of agricultural resources in the country.
Let's remain in our seats. Everyone living in Ghana may soon be compelled to hold a national health insurance card, whether they like it or not. A bill currently before Parliament, when passed, will make it mandatory for everyone resident in Ghana to register with a national health insurance scheme.
Now, health experts and administrators believe contributors from the entire population can boost the scheme to enable everyone, especially those from low-income backgrounds, to access quality health care.
Over 18 million people were registered by the National Health Insurance Authority by the end of 2011. 8.5 to 9 million of these registered members are thought to be active users who access health care and regularly renew their insurance. This number is relatively low compared to Ghana's total population of almost 25 million, according to the latest population census figures. Plans are far advanced to include the entire population of Ghana in the scheme.
In the review law, which is currently in Parliament, it will be compulsory for everybody who is in Ghana, whether you are a Ghanaian or not, to register with the National Health Insurance Scheme, as it is in other countries. If you live in Ghana, you enter Ghana and you will be in Ghana for more than 6 months. The bill requires that you obtain a National Health Insurance card.
Even with the current number of active users, both service providers and patrons have registered some dissatisfaction with the scheme. A fair question will be, can the scheme properly cater for the entire population once registration becomes compulsory?
We will be grateful for all those who have the means to register with us, even if they don't want to use our services, because that provides us with the financial resources with which we can cater for those who cannot pay at all. Remember that the law provides that we cover those who cannot even pay a pesewa, who are indigent. Then there are a large group of people who are also exempt: children under 18, pregnant women, the elderly above 70 years.
Again, are Ghanaians willing to contribute to the scheme by registering even if they do not desire to access it?
My wife had an accident and I took her to 37. She is having the national health insurance, but I took her to they told me, even when I was going for x-ray, they told me the x-ray is finished. 37. The x-ray is finished. But somebody came from behind, told me that they've got a spare one over there. And if I can afford to pay a higher cost than the normal charge rate. Is it fair? It's not fair. Why should I go for national health insurance? It's bogus.
You don't know when exactly you'll be sick. Yeah, so if it's compulsory, you have the card, you're registered. Anytime any sickness comes, you're guaranteed of health assurance.
No, I'm a Rasta man. Even I don't take their medicine. I took what I call herbal. I go to herbal. So what they're doing is for them.
So be even baba. Parents especially benefit from NHIS. Children often get sick and you may not even have enough money to pay their medical bills. So making the NHIS subscriptions compulsory will be a good idea.
Personally, it will not work. Why do you go in for insurance? You go in for insurance so that tomorrow, when there is a need for you to have medicals, they will take care of you. But you go in for insurance, you pay your premium, then you go to hospital. Some hospitals will give you the exact time that you're supposed to come. How can they determine when I will be sick or when I will not be sick?
Though the scheme does not permit taking money from the subscribers before providing them health care, some hospital administrators who spoke off camera propose co-payment where those who can afford settle part of their bills. This, they believe, will offer the much-needed boost to the scheme by fully catering for those who actually need health care but can't afford. They say they will deter people from abusing hospital services and also limit self-referrals, where patients roam from district hospitals to teaching hospitals without proper referrals from doctors.
Meanwhile, a new antiretroviral drug, Truvada, is expected to be introduced into the Ghanaian healthcare system to prevent high-risk persons from contracting HIV. The drug has been approved by the United States Food and Drugs Administration.
The drug, a pre-exposure prophylaxis, is to prevent HIV infection in uninfected individuals who are at risk of contracting the HIV virus through sex. As treatment for HIV, experts advise that it should be used with other preventive strategies such as condom use, risk reduction counseling, and frequent HIV tests. Although a new antiretroviral drug, Truvada, has been announced, the Ghana AIDS Commission says for now, its focus is on persons who have tested positive to HIV.
You can strategically decide as a country, or you can come up with policy to say that those who are at most risk of acquiring infection, or those who are most vulnerable because of living situation or because they find themselves in a discordant relationship or something, could have pre-exposure prophylaxis to prevent them from acquiring infection. But we need to understand that we have quite some way to go in providing treatment for everybody who needs treatment in the country.
The Commission has also confirmed it has received an amount of 17.6 million Ghana cedis as the first tranche of government's contribution to the fight against HIV and AIDS.
What this money will do is going to prevention services, treatment, care and support services, reduction of stigma in the country, because that is a major issue. It's a major issue that actually deters people from taking advantage of services which are available. And it is important that we reduce stigma to the extent that every single one of us, it will become the norm that we will know our HIV status and take advantage of the services.
Ghana recently named a high priority and high impact country by UN AIDS and Global Fund. The money from government will go a long way in helping control new infections as well as reduce mother-to-child transmission as part of the 2015 strategic plan.
Well, we take you to the House of Legislators now. Members on both sides of Parliament were today engaged in a heated debate over a supposed breach of Standing Order 75A and 75D of the Parliamentary Rules and Regulations. The minority side accused Majority Leader Cletus Avoka of flouting the parliamentary procedure when he tabled a motion by the Electoral Commission seeking a constitutional instrument for creation of new constituencies. According to the minority, 24 hours after the motion was moved, they are yet to lay eyes on the document.
Standing Order 75A of the Parliamentary Rules and Regulations states, any orders, rules or regulations made by a person or authority under a power conferred by the Constitution or any other law shall be laid before Parliament and shall be published in the Gazette on the day when they are so laid before Parliament.
Madam Speaker, you rightly said that this constitutional instrument was laid under Order 77. which is consistent with Article 11.7. And Madam Speaker, in the standing order and at the Constitution, it is very clear. In the case of constitutional instrument, it has to be first laid before you can gazette. Madam Speaker, the orders are clear. That 77 provides that it shall be laid in Parliament. And B says, shall be published in the Gazette on the day when they are so late. When it is not when it is late, when they are plural. What means that sufficient copies would be made on the day. Madam Speaker, while I appreciate the fact that after it has been laid, we should expedite action and make copies available to members. I think that Order 77, Madam Speaker, is a special provision. Order 77 is special. Madam Speaker, just like you have to dress up in the morning, wear a trousers, wear your socks, and wear a shoe. You do not start by wearing your shoe before you wear a trousers. That is the import of Order 77.
The Speaker of Parliament, Joyce Bamford Addo, asked the Majority Leader to make the documents immediately available to members to enable debate on the motion to continue.
Still within Parliament, former Attorney General and Minister for Justice Betty Molde Idrisu has launched a scathing attack on the Public Accounts Committee. She singled out MP for Nchima Mponua Isaac Esiama, accusing him for maligning her. She accused him of describing her actions in respect of the €94 million payment to CP as fraudulent. But Isaac Esiama said she had misrepresented what he said. The chairman of PAC, however, Kandapa, stated that he does not have the power to take out a member on the committee, adding that such powers are vested in a Speaker of Parliament, Joyce Bamford Addo.
Is that our client very much convinced that she's innocent and she has the answers to all questions you may pose. We are not running away from it, that's why we are here. But we want to put it on record that the section on human rights is an international term which circumscribes even the Parliament.
This is the wrong place. This is the wrong place to make this argument. The place to make this argument is at the Court of Law.
Yeah, because
it is to Madam Speaker.
Because the Attorney General is a constitutional body holder, exercising a constitutional discretion. Any challenge to the discretion or the constitutionality of the Attorney General should be at the forum of the Supreme Court. The proper forum.
Madam, yeah. I'm sorry, I have a problem with that.
No,
I'm sorry, I have a problem with that. See, I just told you.
You must allow me.
No, I cannot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, Mr. Kume, the next time you make any remark, I'll walk you out of this room. Okay, then can the marshal get him out of the room? You don't just sit there and talk to the chairman like that. You need to have a respect for me.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, thank you very much. And I take it in very good faith. If you have this leak,
I agree.
Please, no, but you need to listen to me.
If 2 minutes.
No, but you need to listen to me, please. If you have these concerns, you can please petition the Speaker and explain why you cannot be here as the former Attorney General. Then I will have no right to question you. But we have questions to ask, and we demand that we be given the chance to ask those questions. As for these legal arguments, this is certainly the wrong place.
Well, National Service Director Vincent Kouagbenu says if you're lobbying for a favorable position in the National Service, you better watch out. We'll bring you the story after this break.
We'll be right back.
Thanks for staying. This is Joy News at 8. The National Service Secretariat has for the past 3 years actively engaged some of its personnel in a Youth in Agriculture program to contribute towards Ghana's food security. The Ghana Irrigation Authority, supporting the Service Secretariat, achieve its aim by offering them a former state-owned farmland at Dawenya for maize cultivation. Our news team visited the farm today to see how the latest addition to the NSS farm is faring.
A 10-minute drive from the main Dawenya junction will take you to the National Service Secretariat's 500-acre maize farm. This farm was started 2 months ago after other agric projects in Accra, Wenchi, Komenda, Abotia, Tota and other parts of the country. Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Vincent Kwagbanu, says the success of the agric project will ensure Ghana never suffers food shortage. But for now, the produce from the farm complements food supply in senior high schools and other needy institutions across the country.
When we started about 3 years ago, the first year we had about 6,000 bags. The second year we've had close to 17,000 bags. This is the third year. We hope to make no less than 30,000 bags. The poultry has also taken off very well. We have a total of about 8,000 birds in various locations on our farms. And our piggery stock is also increasing to around 500. We do not have enough farm to replicate this on a larger scale. So we plow back what we have back on the farms. But the essence is to create a platform for our personnel to have a practical field of agriculture on the farm.
The NSS also has a poultry farm with 5,000 birds. Its farm in Papawo, Accra, rears 500 rabbits apart from the vegetables it grows. He, however, bemoaned what he called the lack of productivity in the public sector.
It's become a common phenomenon that you find in our workplaces, especially public organizations. The chief executives and others, if they are not in this conference today, they are in this conference tomorrow. And the work that we are supposed to do as an institution is left. If you go to many of the ministries, one is around 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the evening. Most of the staff leave to go and do MBA. So productivity in public service is not being met. Movement of public workers onto the single spine has now hit 6 billion Ghana cedi mark. It used to be 2 billion. But when government started implementing the single spine, it has gone as far as to 6 billion. But what is our production level? How much are we producing? How much are we attaching importance to our work in our offices to ensure that government agenda is achieved?
Some National Service personnel who spoke to Joy News were grateful to serve on the farm.
The most important thing I've learned so far is that I've learned to drive a tractor. I've learned to set a planter. I've learned to set a harrow. I've learned to scrutinize first plowing from second plowing, first harrowing from second harrowing. And the most important thing is that I'm grateful to whoever sent me to this place because I got the opportunity to handle people.
It's been challenging, but I mean, it's part of life. I've really enjoyed being here. I've learned a lot of things. I've seen what commercial farm is all about and the implements and other things, what we used to see on paper or we only hear about them in our classrooms. But here you see it work. You see the way sometimes they are being operated and other things. You can even have a first-hand feel of it. I mean, it's been an interesting experience so far.
10 National Service personnel are stationed here at the Dawenya maize farm.
Are you one of those who lobby for placement for your national service? Or are you planning on lobbying for a favorable organization to do your national service this year? Then here is a message for you from the Executive Director of the National Service Secretariat.
Executive Director of the National Service Secretariat, Vincent Kwagbenu, has cautioned prospective service personnel as well as their relations to stop trooping to his office to lobby for choice placements for their national service.
Tell whoever, tell them that the only time that you take your son or your daughter to school is maybe in the kindergarten and primary and GSS. So you cannot complete university and then parents will be holding your hand as if you are toddlers to come to my office and demand that I post you to their organization of choice. I want to use your medium today to let them know that the challenges we face in this country is not about nepotism and cronyism. The challenge we face in this country is real.
According to him, national service is a responsibility and not a right. Therefore, personnel will be posted to places where their services are most needed.
We talk too much about rights, but we do not talk about responsibilities that should rather be emphasized. You have the right to go to school, yes. You have the right to go to university. You also have a right as a citizen of this country to work to ensure that this country achieves its own goals. But when it comes to responsibility, we are quiet about it.
He said persons serving under the scheme who are always quick to highlight problems need to revisit their books.
We are established to address challenges. So we see ourselves to be ready for that.
Not to complain.
Not to complain. If you are in national service and you are complaining, then you don't know what your calling is.
As the new service year embarks, it remains to be seen if prospective service personnel will heed the caution from Mr. Kwagbenu.
Well, you heard it for yourself. Don't lobby and don't complain. Inhabitants of Eastern Region and its environs have been called upon to support government policies and programs to enable them make a fairer assessment of the NDC government and its achievements. Deputy Information Minister James Ejenim Boateng made the appeal during the launch of the Eastern Regional Policy Fair in Koforidua.
The policy fair aims at creating a platform for residents of the Eastern region to get ready access to information about the programs and policies being implemented by government through the ministries, departments and agencies, as well as the municipal and district assemblies. The fair is also expected to showcase the achievements and results of the policies and programs executed by the NDC administration. Speaking at the launch of the fair, Deputy Information Minister James Ejenim Boateng reiterated President Mills's commitment to promote a transparent and accountable government.
Government is firmly aware that no meaningful development can take place without the unflinching support of the citizenry. And for this support, the people need to be informed adequately about the government's policies, programs and projects.
According to him, the policy fair will also afford patrons the opportunity to critique government policies, programs and projects, as well as make contributions towards shaping these policies. Eastern Regional Minister Victor Smith noted the NDC government inherited a challenging economy which needed a lot of work to bring it back to recovery. He said these regional and national policy fairs are necessary to showcase government's achievements in education, health, agriculture and infrastructural development after only 3.5 years in office.
Pragmatic strategies were put in place to surmount the seemingly insurmountable challenges. But with God on our side, we were able to ameliorate the challenges, which then paved the way for the injection of more adrenaline, so to speak, into our development agenda that ushered the country on the road to prosperity.
The theme for the fair is Building Together in a Better Ghana.
Hello and welcome to Business. My name is Matilda Nyakwa Dennis. In our first story for today, government is seeking an additional 2.6 billion Ghana cedis to support the budget for the 2012 financial year. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor told Parliament part of the additional budget will be used to accommodate the final payment of deferred salary liabilities arising from the single spine salary structure. Government is meanwhile hoping to end the year with a single inflation figure while undertaking various programs and policies aimed at strengthening macroeconomics.
Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor arrived in Parliament at about 9:30 a.m., one clear hour before the start of proceedings, and quickly exchanged pleasantries with members of both the majority and minority sides. He moved the motion for Parliament to approve the sum of 2,630,407,346 Ghana cedis as supplementary budget estimate of government for the 2012 financial year.
The following developments informed this request for a supplementary estimate. 1. Savings on expenditure that government would make from measures undertaken to clean ghost names from the government payroll. 2. Receipts of 2 major inflows from the World Bank and the African Development Bank that were programmed for 2011 but were received in 2012. 3. Increase in recurrent expenditures arising from, first, the 18% salary adjustment for 2012 and payment of deferred salary liabilities arising from the implementation of the single spine pay policy.
He used the occasion to outline some growth recorded in the economy in the first half of 2012.
The Ghanaian economy experienced robust growth in 2011 in spite of uncertainties in the global economy. First, the real GDP grew at 14.4%, bolstered by a stable macroeconomic environment. Inflation at the end of 2011 fell to 8.6%, lower than target of 9%, indeed an unprecedented achievement. From the 18.1% registered in 2008, and the gross international reserves increased by $702.8 million to $5,382.8 million. Sufficient to provide cover for 3.2 months of import of goods and services, as compared to the reserves of about $2 billion in 2008.
The following, he noted, were some interventions by government to grow the country's economy in the second half of the year.
Since the last quarter of 2011, caused by a huge foreign exchange demand overhang and high domestic liquidity, attributable to the expansion of the economy and increased public-private investment and the impact of the single spine pay policy, obviously posed significant risk to the country's macroeconomic stability. However, the Bank of Ghana has responded strongly by tightening liquidity and raising interest rates to contain the situation. As a result of the measures implemented by the central bank, we have seen the value of the cedi stabilized in the past few weeks.
The House later adopted a report of the Finance Committee on the loan agreement between government and UniCredit Bank of Austria for an amount of €8.65 million to be used for the construction and equipping of 5 polyclinics in the Bono Ahafo region. The House also adopted Article 174, subsection 2 of the 1992 Constitution, which empowers Parliament to confer powers on any person or authority to waive or vary a tax imposed by an Act of Parliament.
So away from Parliament, we move to telecommunications. Since the introduction of mobile number portability about a year ago, over 370,000 mobile numbers have been ported from one mobile service provider to another. Mobile number portability was initiated by the Ministry of Communications in 2010 and implemented last July after a series of dialogues with telecom providers and the National Communications Authority. The NCA earlier today publicized its successes in mobile number portability.
It's a permanent fixture in the telecoms market where the system allows Ghanaian mobile users to move from one service provider to the other through a process that is flexible and easy. There are no payments at all and it can be stress-free. When you agree to port your number, your new network entirely takes over and all services provided by your regional service provider are terminated. Your new network is responsible for keeping you informed on the status of your porting request and to resolve any porting or other account problems that may occur even after porting is completed. This is the freedom of choice. Usually, quality of service, accessibility and others play a key role in the choice of port. NCA, according to its Director General Parok Van Persie, is happy for the successes of the mobile number portability so far.
We can report that the level of efficiency that we've been able to achieve in this is quite exemplary, and we are happy that we have been able to chalk such successes in terms of introducing mobile number portability to this country and deepening consumer choice in terms of which network operator they wish to use. It's a question of delivery of service to you. And if you're happy where you are, you remain there. If you are not and you want to move, the choice is available for you to move. So even if only one customer moved, for us, MMP has been achieved because that customer has been able to exercise a choice which before he or she didn't have.
Nothing new comes without hitches or associated problems. Mobile number portability is no exception. From customers changing their minds to fraudulent behaviors by agents, this the NCA says the service providers are deducing means to curb these problems. But as far as consumer satisfaction is concerned, is number portability worth considering?
It's a permanent fixture in the marketplace. Just like you always have a choice where to shop, now you no longer have to consider the fact that everybody knows your phone number as a barrier to changing mobile operators whenever you want to do so for any reason. It can be because you're dissatisfied about the quality or pricing where you are, or it could be simply there's an attractive offer or you are curious about another network. The point is you can move, it doesn't cost anything.
The industry players are without doubt happy for the opportunity to claw some business from each other.
If you're on a network that is not offering you the best quality, it's not offering you a value for your money in terms of allowing your credit to last longer and to do more things, then you have the choice to leave that network and go to the network that does that.
A lot more Ghanaians are not porting yet. It's obvious they are not interested in changing their service provider.
I want to find out before I start doing it.
They have a long queue that you need to queue before they can do this for you. I learned it's a simple thing, but sometimes it's this channel, they make it very hard for you to, daily activities are keeping us hot. So that I don't have much time to waste there. So sometimes you buy your this and then you're gone.
As of yesterday, I was trying to load 10 Ghana cedis. What I saw was that the voucher has been used. So I tried calling the office, but they were telling me that it has been used. Then I said, how come? I'm the one that bought the thing. I'm the one that scratched it. Yeah. If this thing continues like that, I have no choice than to move.
Want to do it, but they say that unless you use the mobile, the numbers around for some years before they can activate it for us.
The NCA is happy to be celebrating a year of success of mobile number portability, which is aimed at improving telecommunication services. So far, 370,107 customers have completed their porting and still counting.
Well, that's a very interesting report, don't you say?
Yeah, I was there actually, and a lot of people came clean to say that they've ported, and it's a nice experience.
They have, but what about you? Have you ported?
I haven't actually given it a thought because, to me, I don't see it necessary.
You love your number so much, you love your network. Would you like to mention it or not?
It is something I started with, so I'm going to go with it.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Well, we end business for now, but we'll return shortly with entertainment. Please stay tuned.
It's great to have you join us on E-News. My name is Gladys Osei Oredu. E-News is brought to you by Airtel. Feel free. Jedublee Ambule has stated that he is the originator of rap music, not only in Ghana, but worldwide. The Ace Highlife musician says he is the first musician to have commercialized rap music and has documents that date back as far as 1973 to support his claim.
Jedublee Ambule hit the music industry sometime in 1973 with his first album titled Semiguado. Ambule, who was born in the port city of Sekondi Takoradi in the western region, has been in the music industry for the past 40 years. He's challenging the Guinness Book of World Records, which credits Sugar Hill Gang as a pioneer of rap music. Sugar Hill Gang is an American hip-hop group which became famous after their 1979 hit, Rapper's Delight, the first hip-hop single to become a top 40 hit in the US. But Ambule, who believes his rap compositions led to the introduction of hip-life music in Ghana via Reggie Rockstone, says he does not have a problem with people acknowledging Rockstone as the founder of rap music in Ghana. According to him, Reggie calls him Poppy all the time and considers him a musical father figure who is the originator of the music style he, Reggie, projected. He praised Reggie Rockstone for his massive contribution to making hip-life music big in Ghana. The Ragumzo man says it's about time musicians ensure that their efforts are well documented and due credit accorded to them to avoid the kind of documenting the Guinness Book of World Records is doing.
If you thought you've seen the last of the Batman movies, you may be wrong, because there is another dose coming up. The comic book superhero returns to the screen this weekend in what is expected to be the final installment of the Batman series.
In Nolan's Dark Knight, a sequel to his first Batman movie, Batman Begins, Gotham City's superhero Batman was contemplating retirement until the Joker, played by the late Heath Ledger, came along tormenting the city's people and leaving in his wake a massive streak of destruction. Well, it appears Batman in Nolan's third movie, The Dark Knight Rises, will have to deal with a much complicated opponent. Dark Knight Rises is expected to be the final installment in the movie franchise. It touches on issues of social justice, revenge, terrorism and developments in the cyber world. Some film critics have already given thumbs up to The Dark Knight Rises, which is due for release in 2D and IMAX cinemas on Friday, and have described it as having an emotional touch.
Did they kill him?
I'm not sure.
Why didn't you just kill me?
Your punishment must be more severe.
Christian Bale is still the lead man in this movie, starring as Batman. His father's loyal butler, Alfred, played by Michael Caine, is still around. And Hathaway makes a return as Catwoman, with Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox, starring along a host of other Hollywood actors.
Why would you run, Bane?
You should be as afraid of him as I am.
Before we bid you good night on E-News, Elton John has revealed that he wasted a big part of his time using drugs. According to Sir Elton, he spent the early part of the 1980s as a drug addict, around the same time when the AIDS epidemic was on the rise. Elton has an upcoming memoir, Love is the Cure, on life, loss and the end of AIDS.
In his book, Love is the Cure, on life, loss and the end of AIDS, Elton writes that he was consumed by cocaine, booze and anything else and never got the memo that his generation had ended. Elton admits he feels some guilt about that period in his life and is making up for it now, adding that there is so much more to be done. Talking about addiction, he says it is a terrible situation in one's life because you see all the bad things that can happen to you, yet it is hard to stop. Elton John says he feels he's the luckiest man in the world because looking back at his lifestyle, he could have easily contracted HIV or AIDS, but he came out negative. That is what partly inspired the memo.
Hello there, good evening. And Communications Director for the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara, says Ghana has put in an application for 19-year-old Emmanuel Frimpong to play for the senior national team, the Black Stars. Frimpong's desire to play for Ghana on many occasions has failed to materialize due to documentation needed by World Football governing body FIFA to clear him.
There's this issue of Emmanuel Frimpong.
the Arsenal player an ex-England under-21 international, we've applied for nationality switch for him. The problem is that, it's so surprising that when it got to Ghana's turn, FIFA said that we need to he holds a UK passport. And a UK passport means that he is eligible to play for England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So for all these 4 countries, we need a confirmation from them that he's not played for them, whilst the law was not applied for Victor Moses when he was applying to play for Nigeria. It's been applied to Ghana. But we followed, the requirements that FIFA has asked. We don't know the response from the other FAs. We understand that the English FA have presented theirs, the Welsh FA have presented theirs. As of the last check we made, there was two outstanding ones from the Scottish FA and the Northern Ireland FA. So we are waiting for them to get those documents to FIFA, and then FIFA would be able to adjudicate on the issue. If it adjudicates rightly in our favor, for us to have Frimpong, he could also be in the mix for.
Now, this year's top 4 competition is slated for the 26th of August to the 3rd of September. The tournament will feature arch rivals Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hatsefok and Mediama and Ashgold. Galco chairman Alhaji Ali Raji spoke exclusively to Joy Sports and Multi-TV's Sports Night.
The issue of sponsorship is one thing. The quality of the league is also another thing. The quality of the league. And I'm telling you beforehand that there's every indication that the quality has improved a lot from the 2010-2011 league that we saw. The 2011 and 2012, I'm very sure we had this discussion. It was very, very exciting. It was to the wire before we could decide who was even going on relegation, despite the fact that Kotoko has decided to win the league about 4 or 5 matches before the end of the league. If you are talking about pitches, quite frankly, there's been a lot of improvement for the past 5 years. It is a situation where gradually we are developing our pitches. You go to Kumasi Sports Stadium, Accra Sports Stadium. You go to Sekendi, Tamale, Boasi. The TNA Park is not bad. The Brekum Park now is not a bad football pitch. The surrounding pitch is not as bad as it used to be. Definitely, we have moved some step further.
So make a date with Joy Sports' Kwame Jumo-Ajiman for a full version of the interview with Alhaji Ali Raji on Sports Night on Thursday from 8 p.m. Let's find out what happened on this day in sports history.
Okay, so that's all time we'll allow for tonight on Joy News at 8, on Joy News channel on Multi-TV. Do join us again at 11 p.m. I am Derek Walalom Johnson.
And my name is Ajwa Dansua. Good evening.
Good evening.